Hey guys, so it's me again. I've thought about making a podcast, but then I wouldn't have the awesome opportunity to show off my cute little shirts like this from Pink Rebel. Check it out, guys. Anyways, so we just got off the phone, or I just got off the phone with the genetic specialist today, and let's see. So back last fall, we did the genetic testing that gave us the results of him having the MBD5 disorder. And so, let's see. Five. And so, there we're at MBD5 disorder. And from that, we have all these little things that stem off of it. Possible epilepsy, developmental delay, speech delay, coordination issues, so many different things that come from this second chromosome missing an arm. Right there. Like I talked about in the last video. So, if you're a parent and your child is showing some issues, and your neurologist is talking about getting genetic testing done, you're probably like, what, why, what does this mean, all this stuff. So the neurologist will refer you to a genetic specialist. The genetic specialist will review your case and determine whether you need the actual genetic testing or not. And from there, this is how our process worked. Yours might be a little bit different. You receive a kit in the mail. Your kit in the mail will contain a little swab. You swab the inside of your child's cheek, seal it up, fill out the little card of info, send it off. Now, me, I try to be proactive and all like in the know on stuff. So whenever we did our testing, I took a picture of the box, and the name on the box was GeneDx. So, you see that name? I got on their website, I look it up. It's like super simple. It almost looks like I could order a test myself if I wanted to, just like, an average Joe on the street from the website of it. So, they give me a time frame of what time the test results will be back, and guarantee I was watching that clock because I want answers. I was like ready to know something. And so as soon as like that time started like getting close, I found these people's number on their website and I started calling them. I called them. They told me, they sent me a number or a paper through my email having me fill out the information, who I am to my son, who ordered the test, and it's just like a release of information deal. Once I did that, sent it back to them. Within a few days, they emailed me the results. I got the results weeks before the doctor actually went over them with me. So that, I wouldn't recommend that to a lot of people. I would not, because I can remember getting those results that night, every single detail of it. Like, I felt like that was the night like my world like kind of like came like crashing down, because I had such a vivid visualization of getting those results and them coming back just completely clean, and me just being, the helicopter mom I am, and so many people, telling me like, my mother-in-law and friends being like, see, I told you were just overreacting. Like, why you gotta freak out like that? It's okay. Everything came back okay. But I had actually run to the grocery store. I was on my way home that night, and I get a notification on my phone that I had an email from the GeneDx people. And as much as I wanted to check that while I was driving, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to check it while I'm driving. I'm going to get home in case it's bad news and then check it. And oh my gosh, I was like a maniac driving home. I was praying and crying and just so many emotions waiting to read that email. I pulled into the driveway, typed in everything, got to that email, pulled it up as fast as I could, and I'm going through there, and this says negative. This says negative. And then there it was in bright red letters, positive, and I had no idea what it meant. It didn't just straight up say, your child has MPD5 disorder. No. It has all this technical mumbo jumbo about genetical analysis that I had to sit down, break down word for word, and do research myself to determine what the heck this means. What does this positive mean? And it took me a few days to actually get my answer. And once I did have my answer, my family still was like, stop freaking out. You don't know anything. Just, you're not a doctor. Wait until the actual doctor goes over this stuff with you. And a few weeks later, the doctor had confirmed everything I had already figured out. So, like I said, I would not recommend that route to anyone, because then you're set waiting in limbo on the doctor. You're freaking out with all these questions, looking for answers, and it's just, don't do it. Talk about having anxiety, that'll just make it go completely through the roof. So then our next step was, we did that, followed back up with the genetic specialist. The genetic specialist then wanted to test me and my husband and Jasper. And this next test that they did was, I think it was whole exome sequencing. And so what she told me today is, like, in that one, like in this first test, they just kind of quickly ran over his genes and to see if there's any abnormalities, just like a quick scan. And so they seen the MPD5 and all that. The next one that was more in depth, they scanned more than 22,000 genes were analyzed according to our genetic specialist in this last one. And everything came out good. Woo! Yeah! Nothing, like, no more craziness there. I'm so excited, thank goodness. So we're just kind of still tagging everything along to that one diagnosis of MPD5 disorder. However, they're not fully convinced that his new diagnosis of epilepsy can be related to the MPD5 disorder. The research, like I told you before, there's not a whole lot of info on this MPD5 disorder, so there's not a whole lot they can tell me or guide us. They're learning more all the time, not only about that, but also about all these other super rare genetic disorders. So they're not super convinced on that. So once again, here's another test we can offer you. This other test is a whole genome testing, whole genome sequence testing. And so as they're going over all this stuff with me, what's going through my head is, when is enough enough? When do I just like say, hey, we're good, thanks, we got, the answer we need, let me try to let my kid be a kid? When does that occur? And so, look, I have an amazing genetic specialist for my kid. She's not one that, like, stares you in the eyes like, do you want to do this now? I need an answer. Like, no. She's, like, super chill. She had actually told me that she has a child with some special needs as well. So she's like, dude, you want to do this later on? You want to do this 6 months down the line? Call me up, let me know. You don't have to have an answer right now. So I'm really thankful for that, because right now, I just want my kid to be a kid. I just want to try to let him live as normal of a life as possible. It's been a pretty rough, past month, trying to get everything lined out, get medications adjusted, stay out of the hospital, all that stuff. But that's been our experience with genetic testing. Also, another thing on genetic testing, from our first genetic test, you know how I mentioned in my last video that that had a very large bill? Well, I argued with them about that because no one had called me prior to our testing and said, okay, this is how much your insurance is going to cover, and this is how much will be charged to you out of pocket. No one did that. And so whenever I got this bill in the mail for 3 separate tests, look at that, $15,000. Yeah, whenever I got that in the mail, I called them up. I was like, I ain't paying that. I ain't got that kind of money. You done lost your mind. No one went over that with me. So, there was no prior authorization. Well, blessings on blessings. Our genetic specialist told us today, do not pay them. Do not let them bully you. Because apparently, I'm not the only one they did this to. They did this to several other parents. Didn't go over the prior authorization. And so she's like, no. This happened to too many people. Do not pay them. And so now, if we do happen to decide to do further testing, the new company that she's decided to go with is like 10 times cheaper. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, I'm not really interested in more genetic testing. I feel like we have got our answers. And we know that our little guy is freaking amazing. Like, have you seen him? Oh, dude, I gotta show y'all a picture of him doing please. He does that with his sign language, and I'm like, whatever you want, take it. I don't care. Like, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen in the world. Like, cuter than a box full of puppies. So, I mean, that's that on the genetic testing. I kind of just wanted to go over that with y'all. Let me see. There's a few other things, whenever we did the genetic testing on Cody and I, it was just a cheek swab as well. That test took significantly longer. We sent that off in February. We just now got the results from that. Genetic testing takes a long time. The first one is definitely the shortest because they just look over everything real quick. That one's like 6 to 8 weeks. What happens from the point of your genetic testing, it just depends on what diagnosis you get. I feel like in some situations it can definitely help with your treatment plan. However, if you have a rare condition, you're still kind of left up the creek without a paddle. They might give you like a little quarter of a paddle to go along with, not much, because I mean they're just giving you what they got. But if it's something more common that they find, then that could help you substantially. So definitely look into genetic testing if that's something that your doctor is recommending. Just definitely be sure to get that prior authorization, and just explore all your options, educate yourself, and don't get the results before your doctor, because you will freak yourself out and throw yourself into a panic attack. Don't do it. But yeah, that's just about it. So if y'all have any more questions, I plan to create more videos as we go along. There is one thing that I do probably plan on doing in the next year is she said that, you know, with science, they're always learning more. And in 1 year, they offer us a free reanalysis to see if there's anything new that they discovered, and they will reanalyze those more than 22,000 genes. And a little bit more in depth about the test that they're currently trying to get us to go into, that whole genome testing, is that yes, they've already looked over 22,000 genes, but they haven't looked at what's in between the genes. Ooh, might be something there. So, you know, always something new. But that's the beauty of science. You know, like she said, they, you know, us doing this also helps them learn more. But then again, at the same time, my kid's not a guinea pig. So, you know, it's all in what you believe in, what standpoint you have on the advancement of science, and trying to figure out the best treatment plan for your kids. But I just always encourage you, advocate, educate, and pray, pray, pray.